Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Anman, your host for the next few hours, along with Spence.
Good morning. What channel are we
Good.
on the Nissan Communications Network?
On all of them. Oh,
Okay.
and Nick is here,
Good morning. I know what channel we're on, don't worry.
and Mike is here,
Yeah, I'm here.
and Merle is here with us.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Hey. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is being brought to you by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. And the broadcast is also made possible by Telestream Wirecast software. And we're all here.
We're all in our places with bright,
Yes.
shining faces.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you shining?
I don't know.
So what's going on? How was y'all's week? Nobody says anything.
Quiet?
That quiet.
No, I shouldn't say quiet. Maybe I should say normal. So,
Where was it? Listen to this thing here. Trojan spyware has been running on computers in the German parliament for over 4 weeks, sending data to an unknown destination. And despite best efforts, nobody's been able to remove it. The German government is seriously considering replacing all hardware and software to get rid of it. And from IT World article, after the attack, part of the parliament traffic was routed over the federal government's more secure data network by the Federal Office for Information Security. Der Spiegel reported, and some Germans suspected that the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, is behind the attack. On Thursday, the parliament will discuss how to address this situation. So we're not the only ones.
and that notification to address the situation is sent out by paper memo. I don't know if it was this government or another government. It was in the story a few weeks ago about how they got hacked and they are dragging out typewriters, literally. They're, for secure communications, going to go by paper until they figure out how to really fix it.
Isn't that something? That
Way to go.
Amazing.
As long as you keep it out of people's hands and they can't photocopy it, I mean, it's as secure as it can get.
Sneakernet. Just have people run the notes back and forth. Yeah, they have aides, right? Aides as in helpers. What are they for?
I guess so.
But the job of being a courier is going to come back too.
Yeah, couriers. And so they think that it's the Russian. Russians doing it. We think it's the Chinese doing it to us. And
I heard an interesting commentary on that by somebody the other day, saying that, you think about it, had the Chinese sent a covert team over and broken into a building and stolen that information,
yeah,
it would be an act of war. So why is it not an act of war to steal it over a data network?
yeah.
So what's the difference? What's the difference? It's the same information. It's
That's
done
true.
for the same intent. It's just that
I
they
guess
didn't physically send somebody over to do it.
I guess the thing also is that they're not sure 100% that that's what it is, or so they say.
Well,
What'd you say, Nick?
on television, they always trace somebody to their house through the IP address, so they must know how to do it. After all, do it on TV all the time.
I mean, the official thing is we think and we suspect that it's the Chinese, but it's not. Oh yeah, we caught them. I mean, yeah, they said that they left fingerprints and stuff like that of their own stuff, but I don't know. It's a good question. And besides, we don't believe me. We don't want to go in. We don't want to go into war with them.
We left behind a business card saying you've been hacked by.
Yeah. It's not something that I don't think anybody wants to see us going into war with China. Cyber war?
I agree. But at what point do you say enough is enough?
Well, then, I mean, you fight fire with fire. I mean, I'm sure that the cyber war is raging, and we're also in their stuff. I hope we are. If we don't know how to do it.
For the most part, we've been instructed to stand down.
Yeah, that's normal for every hostile situation around the world. We always stand down.
Oh yeah, well, that's the doctrine. Stand down. Don't do anything.
Yeah, wasn't it an interesting story? How 4,000 federal employees got their information stolen, but there were no Social Security, and a few days later, all federal employees.
At over 12 million, they're saying now, right?
This is just amazing.
Hey, Amnon, it's Merle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, as you know, that has affected me personally.
I'm sure.
And, well, I mean, the funny thing is people don't really realize what that means, because the databases and the information that was stolen, a lot of that information has to do with people who hold government clearances.
Mm-hmm.
So now, apparently, from an article I read, this information is out on the dark web for sale. So people are like, so what? So you go get ID lock or whatever that program is to lock down your credit and all that stuff. But the thing I'm concerned about is now these people have financial information. They know where you live. They know who your relatives are.
Mm-hmm.
They have their information, and this information can now be used to possibly blackmail or, coerce somebody into doing things that the government probably doesn't want them to do. So a lot of my people think, oh, it's no big deal, just lock your credit and things. But I'm like, hey, this is a big deal, and we should take it seriously. But just typical fly-by media, something happened and it flashed up on the screen one day and it's gone the next. But now I got to live with the ramifications for the rest of my life, and it's going to suck bad.
Sure.
Yeah,
and
I
I'll
had
bet
information stolen from two sources. One was the Blue Cross Blue Shield issue, and another was a credit card database that was stolen. So same thing. I've got it for the rest of my life.
I still don't understand, Merle, why can't the government issue you a new Social Security number? Somewhere in the back offices, they should be a cross-reference. But that number should not be used anymore. And if anybody is using it, go after them. You only use your U number. What's the big deal?
Right. Well, I mean, that number is used, I mean, and it's the government, let's face it. I mean, if a private company or industry was in charge of that, they could probably pull it off. But, when you talk about the government and information systems like the healthcare websites and things like that, I mean, for some reason, the government has a poor track record of doing stuff like that. So, and that number is used so widely and across the government. I mean, I remember when I was in the Army, in order to eat chow when I was in basic training, I would scream out my social security number.
Really?
And it freaks people. Yes, yeah. That's how they kept track of who they were feeding, and it was the full social. It wasn't the last four. And I remember when I received orders to go to Desert Storm, everybody on those orders, there was like 200 people on the orders, and full social security numbers. This is back in the 90s. And I've had people over in Korea who used to, when they get orders or they would go downtown and they would get their food, it would be wrapped in people's, what we call PII today, personal identifiable information, but it had their name, rank, serial or social security number and things like that. So that number is used so much, and it's out there. It's probably almost impossible for the government to do it today.
Why do you have a serial number?
Well, when I said serial number, I meant social security number. I'm sorry.
No. But you do have a serial number. What for? Isn't that what it's for?
Well, unfortunately today, and we don't call it a serial number, but it is so also ingrained in your personnel files that it is now considered PII also. So it's no different than your social security number, which to me, I'm like, I'm like, why did we even create that number? Because I thought it was going to be a number that we would use that would alleviate all the, because when we send out information that's considered PII, it has to be encrypted. When data at rest, if it's PII, it has to be encrypted now. But so they just basically create another number, and they associate it with you, and it's such ingrained in your personnel files now that it's considered PII. So I mean, but you're right, that number would probably be better to use now, because I can't go and get a bank loan for that number.
Right.
With that number, because that number means nothing. It's a 15-digit PIN that only the government cares about.
And that's what it was created for, that for you to use in the service.
Right.
I mean, the next thing they're going to do, and I don't want to give anybody any ideas out there, is they're going to put our social security numbers on vehicle tags, and then we don't have to change tags anymore, and everybody's going to be unique, and they don't have to make plates, and I mean,
I think they ought to just chip us all. That's all. Just chip us all.
They did that. Metropolitan Life Auto Insurance, they used your social security number as your policy number for years, and it was only in the last 7 or 8 years that they did away with that procedure. So it was on my registration, my insurance policy number, and there it was.
This is ridiculous.
Well, again, what good intentions gone bad, right?
Well, but let's face it. I mean, even if you do
unintended consequences.
Yeah, if you even do change, I just recently took a SANS class. I don't know if you guys are familiar with SANS, but I was down in Florida, and it's called a continuous monitoring class. And basically, these guys who instruct these classes, the reason I like them is because they actually are consultants, and they go out into the real world, and they deal with the government and big business. And so they were teaching us how to continuously monitor a network in order to find what we call the advanced persistent threat in the government, which is basically a state-funded entity that has unlimited amount of money, unlimited resources. And he basically said, look, if you're a major corporation or a big government entity, if you think you haven't been hacked, you just haven't looked hard enough, because these guys are so good now that, I mean, so we can talk about this information, but and changing it and protecting it, but I think it's too late. I mean, our information as it stands is out there today and gone, and until we get a whole lot better protecting it, I think we're all had. We just don't know it yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a true statement. If you think you haven't been hacked, you didn't look Close enough. Hard enough. Yeah. Mike, what's your take on all this?
Oh, it's kind of a lost cause, Amnon. They, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, listening to what you guys are saying, that my information was actually hacked at the IRS. 105,000 accounts were hacked at the IRS, and mine was one of them. And I got this great big letter from the IRS telling me how my account was hacked and how I needed to be careful. I wanted to reply back, who at the IRS is going to jail? And I didn't want to waste a stamp.
It just, I mean, what I do as an ISP, and for years working with computers, the security is a big deal. We work every day to make sure that that people cannot get through. Why don't they do the same thing in the government?
Well, they are trying. We used to have this thing because every system that processes, stores, transports, or displays government information has to go through a certification and accreditation process.
Right.
In typical government, this is my opinion only. Sometimes we lose foresight, I think, on what our goal is, and it ends up being paperwork. Because let's face it, the government loves paperwork, and it always ends up, they try to institute a process that really helps, and it is getting better. But we focus, I believe, too much on the paperwork aspect and not the actual infrastructure that in the information we're trying to protect. Because the step that they took a couple of years ago is, I don't know, you guys are probably familiar with NIST. Now we use all what we call the NIST 800 series documentation to secure our networks. And so that was a huge step because the government didn't come up with their own standard. They basically looked to NIST, which is a pretty decent organization, and they got a lot of smart people doing a lot of cool stuff. But we finally, look toward that organization and are using their documentation in order to configure and run our networks. But again, the paperwork exercise alone is enough to kill you. It takes like 4 or 5 months to certify and accredit a network, and to me, that's way too long.
It's way too long, and not only that, what happens after it's certified?
Well, then that's the thing. Under NIST the 800 series, we do this thing now called continuous monitoring, where every 3 years we used to recertify and credit it. So we take a look at a system and we'd certify and accredit it being good. Well, we wouldn't basically come back and look at that system for another 3 years unless a major security relevant change occurred. Yeah. Well, today what we do is what we call continuously monitoring. We're looking at implementing tools and providing the right resources to continuously monitor the system for changes. Because going through a certification and accreditation process, it takes 4 months. That's a lifetime in this field, right? Things change so drastically that 4 months is a lifetime. So like I said, they're getting better. The government's a big machine, and it takes a while to get rolling. So it is what it is, and it will get better and better. It's just going to take time. That's all.
I like it.
And in the meantime, our information is getting stolen and being used and reused.
But I blame a lot of the developers, because I don't know if you guys have ever worked with a developer, but the way they operate, and they've gotten better, but still it just seems like, Microsoft has how many thousands of people writing code, and it's just, a lot of code they put out is trash. That's why you keep seeing service packs. And why can't they put out a decent product from the beginning with security, in the forefront? It always seemed like security was in the back of their minds. I know that's changing, but I still think it could get better. But I think our developers really need to do a better job and be trained, and security needs to take a forefront.
Absolutely.
When you're developing an operating system or an application. Because truthfully, that's what's killing us today, right? It's not really the operating system so much as it used to be, but it's the applications like Adobe, Office. The web is killing us with Java and all that stuff. But I think it just takes a matter of time and somebody willing to to put in the effort and the money up front to deal with this stuff that would save us a lot of trouble, I believe, in the long run.
I think it has a lot to do with arrogance and complacency. I worked for very large companies that literally had the attitude that if we build it, they will come. Didn't matter if it worked. Didn't matter if it was good. Literally just, and I'll tell you a story. I won't mention the company name. How the company wanted to build a gigabit Ethernet switch this is back in the late 90s. There were several companies that were already out there building this type of switch. And I had worked for one, and I was hired to go back to this other company to help find a company to buy and bring in and develop the product. Decided to do it in-house. And the problem was that they were going to use an existing platform that could not. When you talk about switching, Ethernet switching and switching in general, there's something called blocking and non-blocking. Non-blocking means that you have enough bandwidth that no matter what you put through those ports, it will make it through at full speed. Blocking means that you're restricted as a bottleneck. To get from one port to another, you have to go through some speed change, lower the speed, and then raise the speed again. They were going to build a switch that was blocking, that had very low capacity, when other vendors out there already were building ones that were non-blocking, and this was going to be 18 months down the road for this new product. Well, I said, you can't do this. Why do you do this? Well, if we build it, they'll buy it because we are who we are. It's like, what? I walked out of the meeting, and then about 3 weeks later, I was gone. I left that company. I just said, this is insane. And then that division literally got destroyed and gone. It's got to do with just arrogance and what I need now. I don't care about the future. I'll sacrifice now, especially in a sales model. Make the quarter. Make what I have to do right now. Don't think about sales down the road. Don't think about how this is going to affect my customer base in the future. Just get what I need now.
Right.
Sounds just like Microsoft 8.
Yes, Steve.
Hello, everybody. I said that sounds just like Microsoft 8.
Your audio is way, way low.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Let's see.
Are you in the next room, Steve?
No, I'm in this room here.
Okay.
I can't even compensate from here.
Okay, I'm checking the levels now.
I can hear you. It's just low.
Steve?
Hello, I'm right next to the microphone, but I'm checking levels. Bear with me.
Something is misadjusted somewhere.
Yeah, he knows. He's fixing it.
The what?
I said he knows. He's working on it.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be much better now.
Yeah.
For some reason, it switched on at 33 instead of 100.
So you were saying?
I was saying that from what Spence was just saying, it sounds like Microsoft for Windows 8. Stubborn and arrogant, or they will accept it, and unfortunately we didn't.
It shook them up to a point, but I still don't think they get it.
There are things that each and every one of us that is in business and has a website, a lot of people don't think about it, and a lot of people don't want to do. Back in the 90s when e-commerce became, oh, wow, we're selling on the web. I'm not going to take credit for it. I didn't know much about it, but Ron, my system administrator, said we need to use PGP. Because the way that it back then, there was no all this automation that credit card being charged. People will go to the website and they will buy something and they want to pay with a credit card. So just like today, you had an SSL certificate and they put the information in. And then the system turns around and sends you an email. Well, a lot of people didn't understand. SSL is great when you're communicating between your computer and the server. But the minute the server turns around, formulates an email out of the information you just entered, and emails it to you, it goes out in plain text, and who knows what route it takes. It can go through China. So we started using PGP, and you let the system encrypt that information that it would put in an email. Problem is, in order for the customer to decrypt, they had to buy PGP. And it was something like $70. And a lot of them, and it's not as simple to do as just click on an email and it opens up. You had to click on decrypt and then it will open it. A lot of them didn't want to do it. And those that didn't want to do it, we said, well, sorry, but we can't host a website for you that could come back to haunt us later on, where people are going to say, oh, the website on Delta Force has been hacked, or the number has been hacked. So people don't think about it. They think that once they finish talking, and today even SSL is not that great with all the keys that are out there that are being stolen and information. People think that just because it says HTTPS, they don't need to worry about the credit card. Well, I got news for you. If you are on, if the website is on Yahoo or anywhere, actually anywhere, the email that goes to the vendor is most likely going out in plain text. Even if you say, you know what, don't email it to me. I will come to the server and get the information. Well, when you're getting it, it's in plain text. And things... Go ahead.
I was just saying, and I've had this conversation with people before who are like, I won't shop on the internet because I'm afraid of, when I connect to it.
Right.
But truthfully, I'm not too worried. I even shop at sites that don't require an SSL connection to give my credit card over the internet, because I'm one of billions of bits and bytes out there, and the thought that somebody is specifically targeting that one connection, because if I target that connection, I get one credit card. A real hacker is going to go for the web server, right? Because
right,
I don't want one credit card. I want 10 million credit card numbers.
Correct.
Yeah. So
they're not going to target your computer. They're going to target the web server.
No problems. But the other thing you have to remember, even if, Merle, you said you sometimes shop on sites that aren't SSL, you got to remember a lot of people are just using products like Square and whatever else for their credit card processing. So just because your site is an SSL doesn't mean you're not using a secure credit card processor.
Point. Absolutely, yeah. Well, and it goes back to this same person I had this conversation with would hand their credit card to their server, and the server would walk away, and I'd be like, okay, so you just handed your credit card to the server. Now she's got a skimmer that's attached to her ankle. What's the difference? Why not utilize the technology? Let's face it, it's not ever going to be 100% secure. There is some risk, but that's why I use American Express, because Amex does a fantastic job, and I'm not affiliated with Amex. I'm just a proponent of them, because every time I have a problem, I call Amex. I'm like, hey, this is a bogus charge, or I bought this on eBay. The guy didn't send it to me. I didn't go through eBay's crazy process because it doesn't work. And they're like, you know what? All right, we'll remove the charge. And if we've got any questions, we'll call you. And it just works. So, there is always going to be risk, right? It's just how much risk are people willing to take?
Right. It's a situation where you need to try and minimize the risk. You cannot eliminate the risk.
That's right. Yeah, it's all about risk management these days.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't get it. I would much rather buy something from Amazon or a website than hand my credit card to somebody who takes it in the back room. To me, that's less secure than in shopping on the internet.
Right. They say that the worst place is in a restaurant.
Yeah, or you pull up to a gas station today, right? And people
Yep.
putting the readers in front. I mean, when you physically give up that credit card, I mean, that's a big deal.
Right.
But people don't think about that. They're all worried about, my credit card on the internet. And I'm
On
like,
the
hey,
internet.
Yeah, you need to worry about your bank or the vendor taking your credit card, because that's where your information is going to get stolen, because it's
Right.
not worth the time for me to go after Nick's or his unsecured connection to Amazon or wherever he's buying his games. I'm going after, the vendor.
And the hackers make their money by selling these huge databases to other people who exploit it. Typically, they're not the ones that exploit it. They just make money by selling the information, and then other people use it to do whatever.
Morning,
they do.
Andrew.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good
I
morning,
was just
Andre.
listening to the stream. You guys were talking about the credit cards being stolen. I had mine stolen on Memorial Day at the bank.
At the bank?
They put a skimmer in the middle ATM at the bank, and they got my info that way.
And do you remember? I mean, you should be able to look at the ATM and tell that there is something on it, because they add it from the outside. They don't put it on the inside.
There was nothing. You know what it was? The middle one is the handicap one, so it's a little different looking to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So everything is different on that machine. They're smart enough to know that, so they're thinking, well, everything's going to be just a little different. But I deposited money like normal, and they got it from, and they knew. You know what bothered me was that the bank knew that this happened, and they did not say a word to me until I went in and I said something happened. They knew that over that weekend that they got compromised and there was a skimmer. And when I went in, I told them what happened. They go, oh, by the way, did you use the ATM on Memorial Day? I go, yeah. He goes, the middle one? Yep. Okay, we got to change everything.
So what? So they changed your credit card. Did they take any money out? Not yet,
Well,
probably.
No, because the bank, they
Yeah.
caught it early. I don't know how they caught it, but they called me, and they said my card was compromised, and that they're locking my card and to go to the bank. They wouldn't even give me any information when I called them.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the things that you need to worry about, not about the internet. The more we see what's happening outside in the world that we can control, we need to become more informed. I mean, if I don't use ATMs, I'd rather go and talk to the teller. But
Where do you have a bank that has a teller?
the banks that I use always have tellers.
The one I have.
But
You stand at a screen and talk to somebody who's in an office like 30 miles away.
no,
Yeah. Hmm.
and you need to know what an ATM that has a skimmer looks like. And there are videos on YouTube that shows you what to look for. If you use an ATM a lot, you probably use the same ones. And if you see something different, say, well, there's something going on here.
There's one very simple key thing that you can do, that even though you may not be able to see a skimmer because sometimes they're extremely small and thin that
Yeah.
you can't tell, is use your hand to cover the keypad, because along with the skimmer, there's going to be a camera.
Right.
Because they have to see you put in the code, or they're watching from a car, or they're doing something, because they have to see the code put in, because the skimmer doesn't capture the key that you put in, your passcode. So you've got to cover that up with your hand when you do it.
It's just like everything else. I mean, you cross the street, you look both ways. Even if you are in a pedestrian crossing and the light is green, you still look left and right to see that no car is barreling down the road. I mean,
the reality is it's very difficult to tell if there's a skimmer. Every ATM is different. They change these ATMs all the time. So I'm looking at skimmers now, and I would not know what to look for. Unless you know exactly what that ATM looks like. These things have gotten so advanced and so, genuine looking where you can't really tell.
And
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to do what Spence said, protect your PIN code, I mean, and they tell you to try to use a pump that's, I guess, that can be seen from the where the cashier and stuff is. I mean, but I mean, really, I mean, to me, physical security today, I mean, that's where you're losing it every time you hand that credit card over. Because I don't have, like I said, I don't have a problem with shopping on the interweb. Doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah, that's another reason why I never use a debit card in a restaurant too. Just because you're not, even though you got to check with your company, because even if you use a debit card at a credit card transaction, you may not be protected. So use a regular credit card. That way, if there is a theft or fraud or whatever, they'll erase those charges and go after that, or it won't be your problem anymore.
Here is the real problem, and Tony is putting it in the chat. He said there seems to be an acceptance of the data breaches because of the general feeling that nobody can stop the hackers. Therefore, it's okay. And we are kind of what's the word? Complacent when it comes to that. People don't want to worry about it. They want to go and they want to go shopping and they want to use it. And with skimmers, most of the incidents, if not all of them, happened over weekends and holidays. Because that's when there's nobody at the bank to check. So they're getting away with a lot, or at night. So, it's a lot to do with us. But,
well, you think about it. It's in the news all the time. It happens every day. You hear a news story every day, but they never talk about the consequences. They never talk about the people who got hacked. They just say, oh, this happened. So at the point, it's like, oh, it happens all the time. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, that's the thing. It happens all the time. There's nothing we can do about it. And so it's fine. And a lot of people don't care about this because they know that at the most, they will have to pay $50 or whatever. So, and if you have a Discover card, they tell you right off the bat, you are not going to be responsible for even one penny. That even makes you feel less aware of what's going on.
And now we have people calling for a cashless society. Do away with cash. These are supposed geniuses, egghead professors. Oh yeah, we need to do away with cash. We don't need cash anymore. Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. So if we ever get hit with an EMP, then how do you go down to the store to buy milk if there's no cash? So, not that you'll be able to get cash either, but
yeah, there's a lot of things that are being done right now, and nobody's thinking about the consequences. Steve, you were trying to say something?
I was going to say you'll be paying him with your gold teeth.
Man, I think you just hit it on the head there when you said, like, a lot of these banks, they don't even worry about it. So it's like, who cares?
Right. But
insurance covers this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, great. It's like you said, so Discover Card's not going to, who cares? Why bother? Why put the extra effort into making sure it's secure?
When you travel, whenever I travel, I have, I either put the entire trip on my Amex or I put it on my Chase Sapphire preferred card because they have unbelievable insurance on anything that happens. I mean, even down to the fact that if there's bad weather and you miss your flight, you will get refunded for the entire hotel. You'll get refunded for the entire expense of the trip. Anything that you had already spent, you're going to get the money back. And that's what happened to us. We were supposed to go to Mexico, and the hotel refused to give us a credit to come at another time. And they said, we're going to charge you for the full stay plus the gratuities. And we called up Chase, and Chase said they can't do that. And they took care of all of it. They gave us all our money back. And we didn't have to deal with it immediately that day, and we never had to talk to anybody again.
We are now discussing financial stuff. where Merle started. I mean, money can be replaced. But Merle started by talking about personal information that is being stolen because they're really after financial stuff, but they're getting all the rest of the information with it.
But Amnon, I mean, there are sites out there. I could find out everybody's social security number right now. You just go to a site and you pay them, and there you go. You get their address, you get their social, you get all their information. It's readily available. If someone wants to do harm, they don't even have to break the law to get that information. Easily, they could get it on the internet. I could get a social security number. I mean, if I pay $14, there are services that will provide me with your social security number, your driver's license number, your address, all the loans that you have, all the properties you own. This is all information that's readily available.
So why are they doing it another way?
Because it's traceable. If I did harm to you, you could find out that I purchased all this information.
Oh.
So
yeah, but the other thing that Merle mentioned was security clearance. That's not something that you can find somewhere to know what kind of security clearance a person has.
Well, that used to be the fact until they hacked Opium's servers. They now know what I got. That's what scares me the most in this whole thing is.
Well, that hack is going to be tremendous. I mean, there's so much stuff that they got.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I said. I mean, if they got my information and knowing the information that I put in there every 5 years when I do an update, I mean, they know what clearance I hold. They know my family. Again, and like you said, Amnon, money is one thing. And I'm with Andrew. I'll transfer the risk over to an insurance company or a credit card company. That's fine. But this is a risk that is out there now that the government hopefully, and I know they are taking seriously, is now we've got our personnel who have clearances. Their information is out there for sale on the dark web, and how is our adversary going to use that information to harm us? That's what I'm worried about the most now, not the money thing. Because like you said, I mean that's the easy part.
Right.
It was the whole ridiculous point when we were going through the an unnamed president's scandal. How it's no big deal, it's no big deal, it's no big deal. You know, he's had this extramarital affair. Well, guess what? It is a big deal because now you can be blackmailed.
Right. Yep.
It's the same thing. It doesn't have to be financial information. It doesn't even have to be. It could be morality that they're using to find it. They find out information. They can find out who your associates are. Go out and glean that information and use it against you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, pretty much nowadays, you know what I was thinking, and maybe Mike could chime in on this. If you decide, like, let's say me, right? I'm 30 years old. I'm 31. Let's say my brother's generation, and these kids are now going to run for some sort of political office or some sort of political position. Everything that they have done, essentially, from the time that they were born, has been documented on the internet. Everything, all those stupid high school moments. It's going to be a very different way that we perceive morality in this country. So things that 10 years ago, that if we found out about a politician, someone running for president, that was a big deal. It's going to be nothing. It's going to be minuscule compared to the big events.
The way that I'm looking at it in Merle's case, he may never get blackmailed, but Merle from now on needs to worry about his entire family and extended family too.
Oh, absolutely.
This will never go away.
Fantastic point, because I mean we've all seen the threats that ISIS has made, and I'm worried. I mean they've got money, okay, that group does. If they go out and procure this information, they now have my address, they have my mom's address, they have my in-laws' address, they have my brother's address. I mean this could be potentially damaging in the wrong hands. So yeah, I'm scared to death about this. That's why I carry my gun now wherever I go, because I've got to be watching my six all the time, because now somebody knows where I live. They know I work for the government, and it's just it's
It's funny you mentioned ISIS threat, and I follow the story with Pam Geller and the whole Draw the Profit deal that they had down in Texas. And now they've published her address, her home address, and called for her death. And, well, you know what the way to fix it is? Another group is saying, well, we're going to have a contest. And another group is saying, well, we're going to have a contest. Overwhelm it with everybody has a draw the profit contest. So now we'll all be enemies. So they won't be able to target a single person anymore or make a big deal out of it because they'll be so overwhelmed with just my thought.
Well, Spence, I mean, let's take it to the other side, right? Not as extreme as ISIS, but let's stay local. Something that's happening here politically. There's a story out right now. There's a young conservative politician from Canada, from Ontario, and she does these videos for some news group. It's a conservative group on the internet, and she went to a rape culture rally where it was a very left-wing rally, and they were talking about how it's a feminist rally, and they're saying how there's a rape culture in the West, and women are being raped every day, visually, they're being raped mentally. I mean, it's pretty much making a legitimate rape look like a joke. It was disgusting to watch the rally. So she went there to talk about how there is no rape culture. We're not raping women every time we see them. These are small issues that are happening, and they're awful things that are happening, but we don't live in a society that people are constantly being raped all day, all night. We're not living in some, third world country where things like this are overlooked. People get punished if they're convicted of rape. These people now, this group is calling for her to resign. They've made up lies about her. They've contacted her family. They're threatening her family. They're threatening the party. They're threatening her. They know everything about her, and they're coming after her.
Yep.
I mean, that's the other side. It doesn't have to be. It's homegrown too.
Yes.
So
I agree.
If the wrong people get your info, you're toast.
I think part of it goes back to that a lot of us who have some common sense, I hope, are outraged. But we need to tell other people that we're outraged. We need to tell people that this is not acceptable. We kind of sit back because we're the kind of people that don't make a big deal out of things. And yet you've got some people who will make an incredible deal out of something that's just from outer space. And
Right.
We need to be outraged. We just say, I'm offended by this. Well, I'm offended by you.
You know what it is? I think for a lot of people, if you have common sense, you think, well, if I have common sense, most other people also have common sense. So the people that are yelling and screaming about insanity, they're just going to go away eventually. But that's not the case.
No, not anymore.
Well, there is good news.
Yeah.
Hillary said on the campaign trail yesterday, Hillary said we have to get secret money out of politics.
Oh. Okay.
She said, "What you mean?" She said that out loud. Wow.
Yeah.
God bless America.
Does anybody know what projection is?
Yeah. I don't know what the Clinton Foundation is getting from where.
I love one guy on the radio calls it the Clinton crime family. Oh boy.
So back to security. As per orders from Tony Scott, the government's CIO, all federal agencies with publicly accessible websites must provide service only through a secure HTTPS connection. Federal websites that do not convert to HTTPS will not keep pace with privacy and security practices used by commercial organizations and with current and upcoming internet standards, according to his memo. This leaves Americans vulnerable to known threats and may reduce their confidence in their government. They're not saying what they're going to do with those websites, that they're going to take them down or anything. They're just saying that they will not be keeping pace.
He's stating the flipping obvious, isn't he?
Yeah.
Too
little,
statements.
too little,
just
too
tell them
late.
What they want to hear. The big problem with a lot of this is the more you hear something, the more you see something, or the more you experience it yourself,
Right.
The less worried you are about it. If it's something that happens out of the blue, you sort of think, oh wow, that's shocking, or that's horrendous, or whatever it is. But the more it happens, the more often you read about it, or you see it in TV series, whatever it might be. You just think, oh, well, that's just the way things are. Well, we shouldn't have to accept it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Since we have Nick here and Andrew,
What I do?
Uh-oh.
I want your take on this. As a change to their community management, Reddit administrators have banned multiple communities known as subreddits in a bid to remove harassment. In response, users have responded in different ways. Some have pointed out the bias of Reddit admins for leaving known harassers alone, such as those in the SRS subreddit. Others have attempted to recreate the banned subreddit Fat People Hate. And many have gone to overwhelm Voat, V-O-A-T, which is a competitor. So I know you guys use Reddit, and I keep reading the subreddit. I don't use Reddit.
So, I mean, I think this thing's a little ridiculous, what they're doing.
It's stemming from the Ellen Pio issue, which is the new CEO of the company.
Wait a second. Nick started saying something.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't hear you.
No, I just this is ridiculous. I mean, Reddit is supposed to be this just open community forum, and the stuff that they're banning. I mean, you read one. It's called Fat People Hate, and it's literally just people making fun of fat people. And I'm not saying that's what you should be doing, but it's the internet. Like, you can really pretty much do whatever you want.
So the CEO that got hired, Nick, did you hear about her?
Yeah.
Okay. She's an insane person. She's embezzled money from companies. She's blackmailed people. She essentially got the CEO position because she slept with one of the, it could have been the current CEO, whoever it was, and essentially blackmailed him.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. And is allegedly extorting. I mean, well, no, she's on trial. She's going to stand trial soon for extortion. She took money out of another company. She embezzled money from a not-for-profit. She is not a good person. And I don't know how she got into this position. I don't know the backstory, but she's the interim CEO right now. And part of this was the banning and harassment. The reason why she's doing this is because there were many subreddits created about her and exposing who she was. And this is her way of silencing them.
Yeah. So, but I mean, the Reddit is, I mean, you can find the worst of stuff and the best of stuff on Reddit. I mean, that's what it is. So, the fact that they just are banning.
So is
subreddits.
this a situation where, because of a couple of bad apples, the whole
No, I mean,
bushel
Reddit
is
has
being
from
thrown
day
away?
one been like the garbage of the internet. I mean, that's nothing new.
Yeah, but I mean,
But you have the good and you have the bad with everything. I mean,
Exactly.
listen, if you create a subreddit, for example, that's giving away people's personal information, yeah, I could see banning that subreddit. If if you're sharing illegal pornography, child pornography, I understand that. But how do you justify free speech? How do you say, okay, this is where the line is? Because that line is going to keep moving and moving.
Yeah, I mean, you read. I mean, the one that just keeps coming back. It's literally one that just makes fun of fat people. I mean, that's the entire point.
Well, the
Is it
problem
awful? Yes, but I don't see a reason for it to be banned.
do you have any idea what is that SRS subreddit?
I'm not sure. I don't use. I stick to a few subreddits really, and so no.
SRS subreddit is, I believe it's. I'm gonna have to curse if you want me to say what it is.
So?
It's called Shit Reddit Says.
Oh,
Is it just like isn't it just like weird comments and whatever?
that's
Yeah.
the one that says some have pointed out the bias of Reddit admins for leaving known harassers alone, such as those in SRS subreddit. So, like, they did not subdue them.
Yeah, that's the other problem. Is these Reddit mods are awful. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
they're
the
just
Reddit are anybody and everybody.
yeah.
That's generally the issue with moderators. If you want to be a moderator on the internet, a lot of times they're not good people. For the 10 that are good, there's 100 that are bad. And
Yeah, because I mean, there's subreddit moderators that can only have access to moderate a certain sub. With essentially, a subreddit is just like a sub forum. So it's like, you know, you'd have the technology subreddit, and it's just technology stuff. So you have a moderator of that, but then there's also global moderators that can go to any subreddit and you know, ban people or do whatever they'd like.
I mean, they can ban you for if they don't like your opinion on something. If it's just like a discussion when you say, you know, I'm a Mac user and I'm not crazy about Windows, and they'll just ban you because they got insulted by that. And what do you do once that happens?
It's similar to some chat rooms online. I mean, it's the same thing.
The problem is that you guys think that's okay, and you just put up with it. When they do it to me, I leave the forum. If they don't want me around, I don't want to be around. I dropped out of one 2 weeks ago.
No, you don't continue, but you're banned. You can't continue to do anything.
When they moderate one of my comments, when one of these stupid kids in there and they don't even bother to read it and they moderate it, or even in the case of mine, whenever it was some old fart up in Connecticut who locked one of my threads when I wasn't through commenting in it, and I told him to open it back up, he refused. I said, okay. And I mean, I donated several $100s to this group's cause last year, and so to hell with them.
I think one of the big problems nowadays is that somebody else takes offence on somebody else's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is insane.
Bingo.
I mean, if somebody's going to take offence, let them say they're offended and then deal with the situation. When you're taking offence on behalf of somebody else in case they might take offence, shut the hell up.
I think a lot of people, you know, there's a difference between being offended and having a difference of opinion. I think people now want to be offended by things, so they will, even if they have a difference of opinion than you, they can't distinguish the difference between being a different person and being offended. I think it's easy. I think people think that they need to be offended.
Yeah.
I actually started a forum about 5 years ago because about 5 of us got banned from another forum, and it's really strange because the guy who banned us about 2 years later finally contacted me and talked it through, and he apologized because he says, oh, that's not what I thought was going on. And so anyway, it was too late at that point, but I said, okay, that's fine, no hard feelings. But whenever we were banned and started this new one of the guys that I made the moderator of the new one said, all right, I'll only be involved with it under one condition, to which I replied, what is that condition? He said, no moderation, no banning like these guys are doing. I mean, if people want to say something, we'll attack them on it, but we're not going to just arbitrarily ban them. And I said, well, go for it. We'll see how it works.
See, that's the problem, though. That's how it starts a lot of the time. But then, you know, it's really once you're popular. I mean, there gets to a certain point where your forum or your group or whatever is so popular that you're forced to just ban a bunch of stuff.
Well, I'll give you an example. I went on a forum a couple years ago, and it was an audio forum, and they had a podcasting section. And I asked the question, and immediately 2 moderators, they just started telling me about how this question was asked a while ago. Well, you know what it was? It was VidBlaster. Here you go. It was VidBlaster. I asked a question, and this happened multiple times, and I got the main guy that sends me a message that says, you know, this question was asked before you could use search. Well, my answer to him is, well, in the time that it took you to type this, you could have given me the answer or sent me a link. And the question that was asked is from 3 years ago. So I think a lot of people are just insane.
Yep.
They're just crazy people.
Definitely in this case.
And they have a real social issue. I mean, and you realize this, the more business you do with people and the more people you interact with, there are a lot of people out there with severe social disabilities where they can't, for 1 second, just let something go. I mean, I run a forum. The same question is asked all the time. Unless it was newly, you know what I do? I either redirect them and I merge the thread, or I just let the question be answered again.
Andrew, it has a lot to do with the anonymity, or I didn't say that right, anonymity of the internet. Because if you were in a room with people and somebody asked a question that way that had been asked before at some other forum, you would be much more polite to the person and say, I can get that information for you. You wouldn't say, you stupid idiot. We talked about that in last year's meeting. You know, it's just they can get away with it on the internet because it's anonymous.
Yeah.
They can be idiots. They can be just really nasty.
Someone
No.
says that to me, I will take my drink and throw it in their face like a lady.
But that's the attitude nowadays, isn't it? Everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people seem to think that it's okay to be abusive. It's okay to be rude. No, it's not. It never has been.
It's interesting in college campuses. There's quite a controversy going on now because of shutting down of other opinions because of, oh, that's offensive, or that's bullying, or that's this or that's that. When they say, well, we're for free speech, but the problem is you're for free speech as long as it's what you think. As soon as it disagrees with you, you're offended, and that has to be shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We've passed a law in England very recently that says if you put something on the internet or a picture or say something on the internet that could be taken offence, if somebody takes offence at it, that's an illegal act now. Honestly, it's an illegal act to offend somebody. I mean, talk
Canada
about censorship. It's incredible.
Canada has been dealing with things like that now for a while about defaming somebody. There were several high-profile court cases. One is over global warming and things that charges that were exchanged between global warming people who believe in man-made global warming and people who don't. And the one person brought evidence forward to show something about the other person, and they sued him over it, even though the evidence was true, or something the person did in their background. They just were offended by the fact that it became public. Well, hey, so I'm not sure what the outcome of this is. I think the case is still going on, but it's at the point now where whether it's the truth or not doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep going here. Listen to this one. Last month, Microsoft changed its policy on protecting search settings to include any software that attempts to hijack searches as malware. As a result, this month, the Ask toolbar, which most people will probably recognize as being unwanted crapware bundled with Java, was marked as malware and will now be removed by Microsoft security software built into Windows 7 and above. The first thing that I do when I work on a machine that has malware is I uninstall and do away with the Ask toolbar because I always thought that it had something.
I love the Ask toolbar.
Do I?
It's probably I'd say it's the most useful utility I have on my computer.
But it's very interesting that now Microsoft, I mean, I wonder if they will reverse it on it. And
I mean, what is their basis for it being malware? Because it's annoying?
I have no idea. It's a policy change.
I imagine Ask aren't going to be very pleased and probably will be suing Microsoft any moment now.
I mean, just because it's annoying or unwanted, I wouldn't classify that as malware.
I think would, because it installs without asking for permission or either.
That is false. In the Java install, I just installed Java yesterday. It does ask you.
It does ask you. But it opts you
directly
in.
Pop up and say, I'm going to install this now. Are you sure you want to do it?
Right.
It's a little checkbox that you have to physically see.
Sometimes, well, it's on the installer. I mean,
all right. Here,
not everyone looks at the options. That's the problem.
Well, it's in the Java install. It's right on the main page. It's not hidden in a separate menu or anything. It's right there. When that little toolbar is going along and it says Java's installed on 3 bajillion devices worldwide or whatever, it's right there, and it says install Ask toolbar.
Yeah, and
it's
you
not hidden. It's right there. You just have to not spam next until it installs. If it was under an advanced or another, because there's software where you have to click custom installation and then uncheck them to get it off. I mean, that's a similar thing, but this is right there. It's right up front. I have no problem with that.
And here's something else interesting for a lot of us older viewers.
Who are you calling older?
Environmental monitoring at 19 Grand Rapids public schools are still controlled by a Commodore Amiga.
Ah, damn, I was just going to bring this up.
Program.
HVAC, yeah.
What?
A lot of the HVAC systems.
Yeah. Programmed by a high school student in the 1980s, the system has been running 24/7 for decades. A replacement has been budgeted by the school system, estimated cost between $1.5 and $2 million.
They can't just use Windows 98?
And the question that the guy is asking is, how much is your old Commodore Amiga worth? I mean, if it works, why change it?
Well, the problem is you've got a bunch of public schools, and this Commodore dies. Now you have to close school because now you have no.
It doesn't matter. It's not. I think it's nice. It shows that hardware platform is very, very.
Oh, it's good, but I mean, when you've got it's something like 19 schools. I mean, like this is like, or 19 buildings or something like that. Like that's a big deal. Like that single Amiga goes down, and now you have no control. You have to go to 19 individual buildings and set HVAC.
Yeah, we're trying to fix it.
There's one very distinct advantage to this, by the way. I said nobody's going to pay attention to hacking into an Amiga.
Well, now it's available. They might. You never know. The weird thing is it communicates over like a walkie-talkie frequency. That's how it talks to all the schools or all the buildings. Talks over the same frequency as a walkie-talkie, and it.
Yeah, this is like you don't want anybody to hack into your Wi-Fi. Use what is it? 802.11a. Spence?
Ken?
Huh?
Say it again. 802.11a what?
802.11a. If you don't want people to hack into your Wi-Fi.
No, it's the whole AC standard uses A again. 5 gigahertz is being used.
But does it use A by itself?
Does it what by itself?
Can it actually read or transmit over A alone, or is it AC?
Oh, yeah.
It has to be.
It can be. Yes, you'll be able.
Oh, never mind
when
then.
you log into an AC network, you'll see on your device. You'll see an A network and a.
All right, never mind then.
2.4 gigahertz network.
So I guess when AC becomes the standard, then it'll be nice to have a G.
It's still going to use 2.4 gigahertz, and typically most networks are backwardly compatible to G.
Oh.
You can turn that off. I mean, it's to your advantage to just leave it enabled for N. Turn off B and G, because that will, because essentially you're dumbing the network down and slowing it down so it will work with older clients. But I would, if you're going to upgrade your network in your house, I say at a minimum now you would want to get an AC router.
Not even N, huh?
No, N is supported. It's part of the N really just covered 2.4 gigahertz, and AC standard includes now the 5 gigahertz range. It all uses the same encryption. It uses the same security and all that. Just more frequencies, more available bandwidth. So the way they typically will say you set up an AC network is you do your high volume streaming on the A network, the 5 gigahertz network, and you do your day-to-day browsing and other stuff on the 2.4 gigahertz or the N network.
Spence, you want to do specials?
I can.
Before Spence does, I'm gonna run, guys. I gotta go get ready. We're recording shows at 11:30 today.
Have a good day.
All right, Andrew. Take care.
Right.
Have a good one.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Have a good week.
We can do the specials now.
Do the specials. It's already in there.
Special. All right. This is the Computers 2K Now weekly specials for June 14th, 2015. And we're going to start with, as we always do, Office Depot Office Max. And they have the HP Envy 4500 printer scanner copier, automatic two-sided printing, $69.99. That's $30 off the regular price. If you're not familiar with the Envy line of printers, I think this is the first of those printers. But they, as you go up in models, they add more features like fax machines or document feeders and so on. But for everyday printing in the home and using it to print photos, which is why I bought my 5660 Envy, I really like this printer a lot, and I would recommend it. Brother laser printer. This is the L2540 DW laser. This is a printer scanner copier with automatic duplex printing as well as wireless. Save $50. It's $129.99. Still get these great deals on Samsung laser printers, color laser printers. This is the Samsung C1810W wireless printer, color, $149.99. That's half off. Save $150.
What expensive about them is the supplies when you need
It's
to.
the supplies, but hey,
Yeah.
$149. Usually the supplies run out.
That's
go
what
buy
a lot
another
of
one.
people do. That's what a lot of people do. They buy another
Costs
one.
you that-
Yeah.
Costs you that much to replace the toner, so yeah, just buy another printer.
Yep, which is so amazing. Toshiba Satellite D750. This is a AMD A6. It's a 17.3-inch screen, 8 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive for $349. That's $200 off the regular price. We've got an HP Pavilion touchscreen, 15.3-inch, or 15.6-inch. I'm sorry, a laptop, AMD A10 processor. 8 gig of memory, 750 gig hard drive for $529.99. That's $180 off the regular price. Got a Lenovo desktop. This is a AMD A8 quad core, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive, $379.99. Save $120. For some reason today, Office Depot, Office Max is only offering PCs with AMD processors, at least from what I noticed. Interesting. Logitech MK320 wireless keyboard and mouse for $19.99, normally $39.99. This is half price. This is really the best price they ever offered at. I paid $25 for mine. Logitech MK520 wireless keyboard and mouse. This is $34.99, save $25. Pavilion, HP Pavilion 27-inch LED monitor for $209.99, save $70. D-Link wireless N300 range extender for $29.99, save $10. This is just a device that plugs into your wall outlet, and then you configure it for repeating the signal. They also have the AC version of this, the dual band version, called the DAP 1520, and this is $59.99, save $10. D-Link dual band AC 750 router for $59.99, save $10. And they've got the AC 1200 dual band router for $79.99, save $10. The difference when they say like AC 750, AC 1200, that's the available bandwidth that they have in that router. It's the wider, the channel, the signal is when you're talking to the router, since the bandwidth is wider, it allows you to have more throughput. So that's the difference between those numbers. You might start at 500, 750, 1000, 1200, and work your way up. Depends on the requirements. In most cases, a 750 is going to be more than enough for the average user. Western Digital MyBook 3 terabyte external hard drive, $119.99, save $10. 4 terabytes for $139, save $30. 6 terabytes for $249, save $30. And finally, a Brother MFC J8700 or 870 DW printer, wireless inkjet copier scanner fax machine, $99.99, save $50. That's all at Office Depot, Office Max. Moving on to Staples. They've got some good laptop deals. We've got a Toshiba 17.3-inch Intel Core i3, 6 gig of memory, 500 gig hard drive for $349.99, save $250. Dell touchscreen with a Core i3. This is a 15.6-inch machine, $379.99, save $70. And they've got another HP Intel Core i3. This is also a 15.6-inch machine, $379.99, save $220. HP OfficeJet Pro 8610 wireless all-in-one for $129.99, save $70. Seagate 4 terabyte USB 3.0 desktop hard drive, $139.99, save $10. Amnon, just think about it. 4 terabytes for $139.99.
Yeah.
5 terabytes for $10 more.
Yeah.
$149.99, save $50. Technology marches forward. I'm astounded. For what 1 terabyte used to take up on a raised floor for a computer system, it would be literally the size of a minivan. or bigger for 1 terabyte. So amazing. Okay, got some good deals on Staples brand USB thumb drives. 16 gig for $6.99. 32 gig for $11.99. Save $6 and $8 respectively. They're USB 2.0, but still good price. Seagate 1 terabyte portable USB hard drive, $64.99, save $5. 2 terabytes for $89.99, save $10. These prices are creeping down again. You see these coming down because they're introducing larger ones so that the smaller ones are actually becoming cheaper. It's a good deal. You don't see 500 gig much anymore. They're out there, but they could be had for really cheap. We've got a Dell 14-inch Core i5 laptop. Now this could be considered a business class machine. This has got a touchscreen, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive, $549.99, save $200. And this is the conundrum I ran across today. If you think about this, and this is why I put this picture in here. Why would you have in your office a lazy boy chair? Think about it for a second.
I don't know. The lazy boy just decided to make one.
But you go to the office to work, right? You don't go to the office to be lazy.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, think about it. So that's why that picture's there.
It's nice to be comfortable, though.
It must be, but if you're too comfortable, then you kind of drift off and don't do
Hopefully.
anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't sit on a
How much are they?
Chair. Oh, I didn't include the price. I just put that up there.
All right, keep going.
But I just never knew that Lazy Boy made office chairs, so that's kind of interesting. You kind of associate Lazy Boy with reclining and drinking beer. So Logitech MK520 wireless keyboard, $39.99, save $20. Logitech illuminated keyboard, $59.99, save $20. They've got a bunch of monitors on sale here. We've got a Samsung 21.5-inch screen for $119.99, save $40. Samsung 27-inch screen for $219.99, save $60. And this is for you, Amnon. Samsung 27-inch curved LED monitor. Now that's going to just make you feel so much better when you're at your desk.
Sure.
It's been proven. It's been proven that
curved
monitors relaxes you just because it's curved.
It's been proven that it does nothing for you.
Well, I won't say that.
I thought the curved monitors were for people that their eyes are too close in their head.
That's exactly right. We don't want to say that, because some people might be offended. So, 27-inch curved monitor for $369.99, save $30. If somebody will buy this for me so I can test it, I will report back as to whether it makes a difference. Windows 8 desktop, Core i5, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive for $529.99, save $100. This is an interesting product. Asus Transformer pad, but it's not a PC. It's an Android tablet. Comes with a detachable keyboard that looks quite nice. It looks like a laptop when you close it. 10.1-inch screen, Android 4.4, $179.99, save $20. And we've got the Logitech Wireless Wave keyboard and mouse, $49.99, save $30. That's an online only. Be aware of that. And finally, with Staples, we have a Dell touchscreen, 15.6-inch AMD A6 processor, 8 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive for $379.99, save $70. That's all at Staples. And moving on to Best Buy, we've got the Canon PIXMA MX922 wireless all-in-one printer for $99.99. That's $80 off. Epson Workforce 3640 wireless all-in-one printer for $129.99, save $70. Canon PIXMA, this is an entry-level printer, the MG3520 wireless all-in-one for $49.99, save $30. If you're in the market for a cable modem, typically the one you see that's on sale is the 6141. Yeah, this is actually the a step up. This is the one that supports over 300 meg download speeds.
Hmm.
So it's $89.99, $10 off. Lenovo Yoga 2 2-in-1 11.6-inch laptop with a Core i5. This is a touchscreen, $599.99, save $100. And this is another one for you, Amnon. This is the Samsung ATIV-1 curved 27-inch all-in-one Intel Core i5 desktop computer. $1,199.99. Save
Right.
$100. Well, no, let's go buy a couple of them. We'll get it
Yeah,
tested out.
yeah, sure.
HP Pavilion 23-inch LED monitor, $129.99, save $50. 25-inch LED monitor from HP for $179.99, save $50. 850 VA CyberPower battery backup, $79.99, save $10. Microsoft Wireless Keyboard 800. This is their entry-level one, $19.99, save $5. This is the new. Only reason I bring this up is because the prices on GoPro, as they introduce new products, the prices tend to go up. It's just like any strategy that the company uses. You might introduce new products. The prices don't come down on the prices come down on the older ones, but the new ones stay pretty expensive. This is a new one, but I really looked at the features on this. I was very pleased with the fact that it's a fully featured. It doesn't come with a lot of accessories, but it's a GoPro camera, the GoPro Hero Plus, that comes with an LCD screen. So one thing about GoPros before is it did not come with that. You could use a smartphone to monitor what it was filming, but this way you actually can review it on the screen. It's a new product, and it comes with a 32 gig micro SD card, $299.99 for this new GoPro camera. I like this one a lot. SanDisk, 240 gig solid state drive for $79.99, save $40. We've got some new SanDisk 32 gig USB 3.0 flash drives. We've got 32 gig for $14.99, save $25. 16 gig for $10.99, save $7. 64 gig for $24.99, save $25. And finally, Western Digital 4 terabyte USB 3.0 desktop drive for $129.99, save $60. $60
Yeah.
in your pocket. And that's it for Best Buy and for the specials for June 14th, 2015.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
Very nice.
You'll be getting the bill very soon.
Thank you,
Hey.
Spence.
We decided to charge. We decided to charge for this, and we were wondering if we're going to charge by word, by minute, by product, or a percentage of the price of the product. I'm not really sure yet how we're going to do this.
All of the above.
All of the above. That's right. Whatever works best for me.
It's nice to see that there was prediction. I can't remember which site it was on that earlier in the year, I think February time, they were saying that the SSD prices were due to drop towards the end of this year, and it looks like they're actually right. The
They are.
240
Look at that.
gigabytes have really dropped.
A 240 for $79.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. I noticed the 512s, well, around the 500 gigabyte marks, they're more reasonably priced now, so it won't be long before the terabytes are coming down in price too.
But we should mention that there are other factors in choosing an SSD and its performance. And then when they first came out, it was really cool, but they may not. They were, in many cases, were not any faster than disk-based drives. It was nice that you didn't have the spinning disk, but my first one, I have one in a netbook that I'm running Linux on now. That was one of those first early ones. I think it's only 128, and it wasn't necessarily faster, but less power and so on. Battery lasts longer.
The earlier ones were 3 gigabits a second. It's 6 gigabits now, isn't it? I've got SSDs in all my machines, the biggest one was 240, although that's a spare at the minute. I've recently bought the Western Digital SSHD, which I think you said you had, Spence, some time back. It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
terabyte.
the hybrid drive.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm still
It's-
using that in one laptop. Yep.
that has speeded up the laptop dramatically. I mean, it's 6 gigabits a second, so it boots up in about 10 seconds. I've got it on Windows 8 or dual boot Windows 7, and then the 1 terabyte drive's 120 gigabit SSD, so I've got it partitioned in dual boot. Yeah, for storing data, it's a little bit slower, but for operating system and loading programs, fantastic speed.
And the hybrid drive, one of the selling points for that was that it would move. If you have it configured as one partition, it would actually take the most commonly used programs and put them into the SSD.
Yeah, on the
And,
Seagate model, it
yeah.
does that. On the Western Digital, that
Yeah.
it's basically one connector, but there's 2 drives there.
which really does help. Yeah, that's the one I'm running on my business laptop. It never leaves my desk. I don't take it anywhere, but I have a docking station. But
The
yeah,
speed
works
is
well.
phenomenal.
All right, if you want to make some money and you know how to play around and try to figure out problems with websites, Tesla Motors is offering up to $1,000 to anyone who uncovers security issues on its website. Forbes reports that the program is not yet available for its vehicles, however. Using a security crowdsourcing company called BugCrowd, researchers have found 22 bugs for Tesla so far. A statement on the Tesla BugCrowd page reads in part, "We are committed to working with this community to verify, reproduce, and respond to legitimate reported vulnerabilities. We encourage the community to participate in our responsible reporting process." Here's a company that will pay you.
This is common more and more now, and I think these companies are. I mean, it's the right choice.
Yeah.
You said how many bugs they find?
So far, 22.
So that's $22,000 for.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, the probably the hundreds of thousands of dollars that would have caused them later
Right.
on down the line.
absolutely.
The drop in the bucket.
Smart.
Yeah. Now I have a question.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear everybody's
Go ahead.
opinion on this. I need a printer. I need a small printer, for my desk up here, but I need something that's cheap on ink, and I think that's where the biggest problem is.
What do
see
you
a lot
need
of
it
these
for?
Printers that just printing stuff out.
What stuff? Do you need color?
Preferably. But the biggest problem is you see a lot of these, like, Walmart will be running this great deal on this, I don't know, Canon Pixma
Yeah.
printer or something like that. And maybe it's $50, but to restock the ink, it's $40. So it's like,
Did you look and that's what it cost?
I mean, that's just, yeah, if you go to the store and you look at some of the
No,
cheapest
well-
printers that they have on sale, and then you look at the price of the ink, you can almost buy the printer again for the price of refilling
Yeah,
the ink.
you-
So
you-
I'm not really sure
All
what to go with.
all ink that you buy that is by the manufacturer is going to be expensive because that's how they make their money. So
You
first,
like buying off-market, off-brand ink?
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So where do you buy
I
your
mean,
ink from?
I almost stopped using my inkjet, but even when I was using it, I was refilling it myself. Just it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you need to look and search on. I mean, and the best place to go look for it is on eBay. Just go and put ink art. I mean, remanufactured, refilled, whatever, and your printer, and see what is the price range. And you need to buy, if you're going to buy from somebody that sold a bunch of them and that their feedback is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, instead of paying $40 for a cartridge, you may find it for $6.99.
Okay. So now
But-
then the second.
But some of them are more expensive, so you really need to look at what's available before you buy the printer. Even the laser printers that I buy now, and I settled sort of like on Brother, is because they're toner cartridges and their drums are a lot cheaper than others.
Okay.
So that's why.
So my question is, and Brian is saying in the chat, get a laser. Is it that
Well,
it's more professional?
Absolutely.
So what's a cheap small laser that I can get? I mean, what's like the smallest laser?
But
that I
again,
can
this is
get?
why I was asking you if you need color.
Um,
I mean, yeah, you can buy a color laser, but that's a
yeah,
bunch of
they're
money for the.
expensive. Yeah, exactly.
for
So
the,
I probably just need to get a black and white.
Yeah. But I don't know how much the LaserJet Pro P1102W.
I mean, it's like $90. I'm definitely not spending $90 on a printer.
I talked about it before. I don't buy new lasers.
Yeah.
I just bought two Brother 2240 from Craigslist for $30 a piece. And they're only 2 years old, and they had about 6,000 copies on each. They came from a small office, and it's great. I mean, not that I needed it, but I said, I will need it.
Yeah. I'm just not sure. The problem is some of the lasers are big.
No, these are small lasers. I mean, the Brother, they're all the same footprint, kind of, unless you buy the all-in-one.
I mean, the Brothers, they're not small, though. They're pretty big printers.
I don't think that you call them big. I don't know what you call small then.
Like the Brother HL, 5240, like that's a big printer.
Is that the
Not only
one?
is it more professional looking? Don't forget it's a lot faster on a laser as well.
But
Yeah.
you see, he shouldn't care about that. He shouldn't. Nick, you don't care about how fast they are,
No,
and you don't care about the way they look.
Well,
you-
I disagree. I do kind of care how they look. I mean, if I'm going to be printing out invoices and stuff like that.
No. I'm talking about how the printer looks. Not
Oh no, I don't care how. It
no.
looks,
The
but I'm
printout in most cases, all lasers put out the same thing.
I'm in a very, very limited space here.
Right.
And having a small form factor printer is. We have a wireless printer, but to put this bluntly, they suck. Wireless printers are garbage.
The thing.
After you print, you have to restart the printer every print, so before it will print again. It's just absolutely terrible.
How deep is that shelf beside you where the mixer is on?
It wouldn't fit over there.
How deep is it?
Not deep enough for. It's not going to go over there, so it doesn't matter.
Oh.
It won't go.
Because as far as desk space, you can always get a piece of like a shelf.
Oh no, I know where I'm gonna put it, but I need a smaller. I'm gonna put it behind my desk. I'm not gonna be able to reach it from here.
Okay. Well then,
But I still need something small form factor.
there is no such thing in laser.
All right, then maybe I should not be getting a laser.
I mean, a laser, just because of what it's got in it,
Yeah.
is.
So then maybe I should be getting. I mean, then if I'm not getting a laser, what would you?
There are
recommend?
some. I don't know what's
You could
available
inkjet.
out there. That's the only two choices. It's either laser or inkjet.
So then what's a
But
good inkjet print, or
what
what's
the
a good
choices
inkjet
are, there are hundreds and thousands of choices out there. You just need to.
What inkjet printers have you recommended for people in the past? Like what brand?
HP.
You like the ones? Anybody in chat have anything?
Who?
If anybody in chat has any preferences.
Oh. And it's not the I mean, preferences of manufacturer.
Yeah.
The Brother, it's not small again though, but they are easily refilled because it's not a regular cartridge. It's just an ink tank, and you
Okay.
just fill it. You just put ink in them. The downside of having those is that after a while the head clogs up. With a cartridge, every time you change cartridge, you're changing the head.
Yeah.
So in essence, you have another. Of course, when you refill, you're in the same situation that sooner or later that cartridge is going to get clogged up. And not that there's no way to clean it out. There are ways to clean it out, but you have to be a little more involved with your printer, and I don't know that you want to do that.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of torn. I need a printer because this shutting the printer on and off every time is not.
Well, see what Brent is sending you there. And
Printer deals. Yeah, here we go.
that's true. You could get a dot matrix, and
Yeah,
it'll
that's
be
perfect.
it'll be a nice change
Sound.
to give somebody a printout from dot matrix. You'll be unique.
That's exactly what I need. I need to be unique. Let's see.
People will get a kick out of it.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure as hell not spending money on a. Here's a cheap. It's an HP. It's literally $28.
Yeah. Which cartridges does it say?
I'm looking. This one doesn't come with ink, which isn't a problem. Let's see.
That's the thing to do, is have a look at one that you think, yeah, that's going to fit with my requirements size-wise, and then have a look to see how much cartridges on eBay,
Yeah,
and
that's
make up your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, here you go. You can get the.
Does it have 2 cartridges, or does it have
Yeah.
5 cartridges?
2?
Okay.
Black and then
Yeah. And how much are they?
teal. I can get it for $7.50 on eBay.
Okay, so these are not real expensive. So you could probably buy them in your local store, like at Staples. Not the original ones, but the Staples ones, maybe double than that.
I need something. I need something cheap, and I need something small. I mean, I'm not going to be doing a lot of prints with this, but I just.
Yeah,
I
it's
need-
almost like you need to go to the store and look at what's there to get an idea what is the smallest one that you can get.
Yeah, I mean, the Epsons I heard are really good now.
But they're not
good
small
now.
either.
They have some smaller ones though. I guess you're right.
I've seen some of the HP ones that are literally about maybe 7 or 8 inch deep and maybe 7-inch tall.
Yeah, they've got some smaller printers, so maybe I should just drive over to.
Yeah, you need to go look in the store.
Staples and see what
Yeah.
they have.
Yeah.
All right, didn't know if anybody had any preferences. I guess not. And here's a Canon Pixma, and it's $19.
I think the Canon also is just a tank. It's not an actual
reviews though.
cartridge, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if it's okay, even if it gets clogged up after 2, 3, 4 years, you throw it away and you buy a new one. Yep.
All right.
All right. Here's something for you, Nick.
Okay.
For video game developers, life can be tough. The working hours are long, with vicious bursts of so-called crunch time, in which developers may pull consecutive all-nighters in order to finish a project, all without overtime pay. According to the International Game Developers Association Developers Satisfaction Survey, many developers aren't enduring those work conditions for the money. Nearly 50% of respondents earned less than $50,000 annually, faced with what many perceive as draconian working conditions. Many developers are taking their skills and leaving video games for another technology sector. The hard and soft skills that go into producing video games, from knowledge of programming language to aptitude for handling irate managers, will work just as well in many aspects of conventional software building. Fortunately, leaving the video game industry doesn't have to be a permanent exile. Many developers find themselves pulled back in at some point. out of simple passion for the craft. So it's almost like it teaches you how to become a good programmer. It teaches you how to survive in a really under bad circumstances, conditions, not with a great pay. But most people do it because they really like it.
Yeah, but the biggest problem is the reason that they're in that situation is because the people making the game are promising a lot and then not returning. I mean, we look at H1Z1. We give those developers hell.
Yep.
Literally, we give them hell. But it's because they've made. It's not unwarranted.
No, it's not. I mean,
they make promises and they don't fall back on it. So I mean, you can be upset and whatever. Hey, I'm not getting the pay. I'm not getting the pay for this one, but you promised it. So, I don't know. It's definitely not unwarranted, but it's not luxurious at all.
Yeah.
Then you got to be careful what you and your company is saying. Oh, hey, this is going to be out next week, and then it's delayed by 3 weeks, and it's like, oh, hey, what's going on here? And now we're gonna yell at the developers, and I think it's warranted. But yeah, a lot of people just do it for the love. They love video games, so they become a video game developer, and then they realize they don't want to do that because it's an awful job. And like you said, long hours, not a good pay, and then everybody's just constantly fussing at you.
Here's something that doesn't have anything to do with computers. Mike, you here?
I
am. BBC reports that Germany has abandoned tuition fees altogether for German and international students alike, and more than 4,600 U.S. students are fully enrolled at German universities, an increase of 20% over 3 years. And the author is writing, when I found out that just like Germans, I'm studying for free, it was sort of mind-blowing. Catherine Burlingame, who decided to get her master's degree at a university in the East German town of Cottbus. I realized how easy the admission process was and how there was no tuition fee. This was a wow moment for me, she says. When she came to Germany in 2012, she spoke 2 words of German, hello and donkey. She arrived in an East German town which had since the 50s taught the majority of its residents Russian rather than English. At first, I was just doing hand gestures, and a lot of people had compassion because they saw that I was trying and that I cared. She did not need German, however, in her master's program, which was filled with the students from 50 different countries, but taught entirely in English. In fact, German universities have drastically increased all English classes to more than 1,150 programs across any field. So how can Germany afford to educate foreign students for free?
Well, it's obvious.
He's got it here. Think about it this way.
Well, no, let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
That the way you do this is you get all of the employees at the university to work for free.
Right. I kind of doubt that that's how it happens.
Oh, come on. I mean, but if there's no money coming in, how can there be money going out?
Government.
Well, government doesn't have money.
Oh, well, theirs does.
No, they don't. No governments have money.
Here's how they put it.
They have to take it.
Here's how they put it. Think about it this way. It's global game of collecting talents. All of these students are the trading cards, and the collectors are countries. If a country collects more talent, they have an influx of new ideas, new businesses, and a better economy. For a society with the demographic problems, I hear an echo. Where did I go? New business center. For a society with a demographic problem, a growing retired population, and fewer young people entering college and the workforce, qualified immigration is seen as a resolution to the problem, as research shows that 50% of foreign students stay in Germany. Keeping international students who have studied in the country is the ideal way of immigration, says Sebastian Forbeck. They have the needed certificates, they don't have a language problem at the end of their stay, and they know the culture. This is looking to the future. I mean, I never understood why over here, other than making more money, why we charge foreign students more money. It's just to make more for the university.
No.
But what?
No,
Why? Why else?
that's not why they charge more.
Why do they charge more?
Because these people have not supported the university systems through their tax dollars, and it would not be fair for them to come in and to get the education at the taxpayer price.
Okay. All right.
The problem is that the universities have now priced themselves out of the market.
Well, that's my point here. That Germany apparently, obviously, they are doing it, and I don't think that the people in the university are working for nothing, because
they
that's
have
their
to be.
job.
Why wouldn't they be?
Keep the sarcasm out of it.
No.
So this is smart, because now that means that they're going to have a lot of students studying there, not paying the tuition, but if a lot of them stay in Germany, boy, they're going to be building an economy in 10, 15 years that nobody
No.
could
It won't last, Amnon.
I don't know.
Mark it down. It won't, maybe it's a
Huh?
good short-term experiment, and hopefully some people will benefit from it. Maybe they will create some pressure on the rest of the world where the tuitions and book prices have gotten so far out of hand it makes college unreachable for so many people. The number one cause, look at it this way. I mean, these decisions have far-reaching implications. For example, do you know what the number one cause of divorce is in the United States?
No,
What would you guess?
they don't get along.
Oh, yes,
Money.
but it's usually issue-related money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's number one. Do you know what the number one long-term debt is that people struggle with?
Student loans.
Yep. Yep. So these universities are destroying families by their greedy, selfish, never-ending rise in tuition and fees. And we've even got a case now where we have Elizabeth Warren, who was running for president. She teaches one class at a university and makes $250,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, if you go back and look at what made our country so great, everybody went to college, almost everybody.
That's not true.
They could afford to. I'm talking about
No, it's
30, 40 years ago.
No, that's not true.
So how did they become so successful? Working working
the
at
man-
what?
Mandatory high school education was true, but not college.
Mandatory. When was mandatory high school? High school is not mandatory.
Yes,
Of course it is.
Up to the age of 16.
Yep.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, if you don't,
Okay.
you stop showing up to school, your parents will be thrown in jail.
Okay, so how long has this been mandatory?
I don't know what the
I
year
mean, what,
was.
50 years?
At least.
Okay. What could you do with a high school diploma?
My
You used to
father
be
just
able to
has a
get-
high school diploma. He's working a state job now. But,
Okay.
no, I'd say my parents are the last generation that could get away without going to college. You have to go to college now. You can't not go to college now.
Yeah, you have to, but you can't because it's so expensive.
Well, that's-
exactly. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I disagree. You don't have to go to college. But if you don't, you've got to be willing to work hard. You better become an electrician or a plumber or something where you've got a skill set doing crap that nobody else wants to do.
Well,
But you can't. I mean, you can't get your high school diploma and then go out and get a job. I mean, maybe you get a temp or something, but that's about it.
you can, Mike, you can knock it down as much as you want. I'm thinking, boy, if Hannah wants to go to Germany and live there for a while and go to school there, or live there forever maybe afterwards, and it's going to help her become a more successful and study what she wants to, I'll pay the room and board. It's probably going to be a lot cheaper than tuition here.
I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing. It's like in Georgia. If you maintain a B average in college in Georgia, you can go to college for free in the state of Georgia. You don't have to go to Germany.
How?
That's their policy.
But how can they afford to do that?
Because they're going to take money away from the people who have it to give it to those who don't want to spend it.
State schools too. It's a tuition to state school.
I mean, realistically, community colleges are not that expensive. My community college semester.
Nick, have you checked the price of your books?
No, I haven't. No, I'm not talking about books yet. I know that books are expensive.
It's all more than tuition.
I know they are, but the books, you can get used books, you get scholarships for books, you get grants for books.
Okay, we'll see. We'll have it with the to be continued.
It's already continued. I've already got my books taken care of.
We'll see. We'll see.
Even with community colleges, back when Hannah graduated from high school, each class was 140, 120. So the whole semester was like maybe $400 or $500 to be a full-time student.
Right.
Today, it's way over 1,000.
Yeah, but that's in the grand scheme of things. You're not. I mean, you pay that off. You don't go in debt for that. It's $1,200 a semester for me to go to school.
Yeah. How much?
Like $1,200 a semester.
And how many classes?
A full-time student. I don't know how many classes I'm taking.
Well, over here, full-time student is 3 classes.
Oh no, never mind. It's like God. It's probably 6 or 7, 8
Point
classes.
is, somebody is paying for it.
Oh yeah, somebody's
subsidizing.
Yeah. Somebody's subsidizing. Somebody. I mean, apparently we're paying for it all these years. I mean, today, yeah, we don't have kids in elementary school or in high school, but we through our taxes we're still subsidizing
public education. Yeah.
Public education. You know, I mean, that's how it works.
But now the problem is that now the U.S. is trying to push for a free community college for people.
How can they do it, Mike?
They tax.
Right.
You don't like my answers, Amnon.
It's not that I don't like your answers. I'm saying it is doable, and it may be more taxes over there, but they are doing it. They wouldn't be doing it if they couldn't do it.
We'll see.
And that's the nice thing.
That's not necessarily true.
Of course,
Right.
it's not true.
They're
That's
doing
what.
things here that we can't afford, yet they continue to do it.
Look at Canada and healthcare.
I think the biggest crime that's happening in education today is that we have these very expensive schools producing students with degrees that are unusable for anything, and yet they
Yeah, right.
still charge. They don't. There's no question. They don't question how. Well, why does education go up 15% a year? And these kids say, "Oh, we'll get a student loan." Well, then they get a student loan, and they're saddled with all this debt, and yet this college and the professors get the money. But they're not. Nobody goes back to say, "Well, you didn't give me my money's worth, and now I have all this debt, and I can't get a job." You hear that some now, not a little bit, but still, we're being sold a bill of goods here to say that this education is worth that money when
Mike,
it isn't.
wait a second. Mike, mute, please.
I'm going to hang up, Amnon.
No,
It's
just
not working
mute.
well. Yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a good week.
All right, you too. Yeah, Spence?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Oh, I was saying that just you think about it. You go to school. It costs you $30,000 a year. You get a degree in. I'm not going to. I don't want to pick on any specific thing.
No,
but
it's
say
fine.
You get a degree. You did get a degree in history, art
Yeah.
history, right?
Right.
Well, there just aren't that many jobs out there for degrees in art history.
Bingo.
There's a few, but it is not a wide open field. And yet you're told when you go to school, oh, that you could do this, right? And then when you can't find a job, what do you do next? You go for your master's. And then when you can't find a job there, you go for your doctorate.
Sure.
And so you spend 10 years in school and you wind up with $200,000 or $300,000 in student debt.
Mm-hmm.
And the college, nobody's saying, well, you know, I'm negotiating. It's too expensive. I only pay you this much for that education. No, they charge what they want to charge. And with the full backing of the government that covers student loans now, that they're more than happy to loan you the money. And then what do you have? You have these students who are in debt to who? The government.
Yeah.
And promising things like, oh, well, we're going to forgive your debt if you do this, if you do that. It is really just another way of locking in. You got all these kids, you got them stuck in. And what's the one thing you can't declare bankruptcy for?
Debt or student loans, yeah.
Right? So you are trapped. So then the politicians banter around as, oh, we'll forgive your student debt. And there are actually organizations out there now that are trying, just tell the kids, don't default on your loan. Default on your loan. It's just, don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's insane. I mean, because you're telling them to default loan and you're paying for it. You're screwing yourself.
The system is set up now. I put 3 kids through college. It is not fun. It is a club for people who can't. There's no oversight as to whether was this education worth it. Is this there are consumer organizations out there that will protect you from bad products and all that stuff. Nobody's protecting you from a bad education.
I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to go to a 4-year traditional college. I could never justify that cost.
And yet it's still held over people's heads. Oh, you have to have this. You have to have that degree.
Yeah. I mean, kids can make fun. Kids get made fun of for going to a community college. Oh, look at you going to a community college. I'm going to SUNY Albany. Like, oh, well, enjoy your $90,000 in student debt that you know, when you're 45, you're paying off. You can't go on that vacation because you're still paying off that student debt.
Well, you know what? I don't know if anybody's a fan of Mike Rowe, but Mike Rowe Works is his organization, his foundation that he has, and he's promoting education, but education for trades, education for train for a job, don't train for a field, or don't train for a job. Pick a job. This is what I'm going to get trained for, and that's an education that's worth.
I was going to do that. I was just going to do 2 years and then get all my Cisco network certifications and whatever else. But I ended up rolling it into a 4-year program instead. But I mean, it can be the way to go. With technology, it's a little hard because you know how long that stuff's going to be around. But like, yeah, going for, like Mike said, an electrician. I mean, Jesus, that's always going to be. There's always new construction going on.
There's lots of jobs out there that they cannot fill, not because people don't want the job. They want the job. They can't fill it because they don't have the skills. Welders, for example, there's a shortage of welders. There's a shortage of aircraft mechanics. People are retiring and no one is taking these jobs.
And that's why we bring them from overseas.
Good paying jobs.
Yeah, the people from overseas are taking them.
Oh, well, I disagree. They're not coming over here to be welders. They're not coming over here to be aircraft mechanics because they're not being trained for that.
They're brought
IT
here
type jobs.
They're brought here for these jobs because where they are, they may not have any certification in being a welder, but they are beautiful, great welders, and they don't make much money where they are in their country. So companies will bring them here to be welders and pay them good money or cheaper.
Well, the bad part about that is the whole situation with these guest worker visas.
Yeah.
Is they get to pay them the prevailing wage from the country they're coming from.
I didn't say that it is a good solution. Yeah. All I'm saying is this is what's happening to these jobs because Americans don't want them.
Mike Rowe disagrees with that whole statement, saying that that's not true. He said that's something that everybody throws about to give you a good reason to say why we have to have these policies. There are many people. Yeah, there are people that are inclined not to work. There are people that are
Right.
feel they're entitled to not working, and I'm just going to sit back and coast.
Title.
But there are many people that want to work, who will take a job, but and why? In some cases, it's where, well, why should I take a job if I get more money on unemployment?
Yeah.
And that's
It's the culture.
That's a
It's the
fault.
sad reality.
But the type of job, there are many people that will, there's those jobs that nobody wants. Well, there are many jobs out there that people will take. They either don't know about them, or there are other obstacles in the way from them getting those
Yeah.
jobs. But it's not quite as bad as we think. Hey, it's time to go.
Yep, it is time to go. Anything anybody wanted to add? Steve, you didn't. You didn't have enough time.
What, me?
Steve.
I don't
Steve
think
got
he's
up,
here.
I guess. Nick, anything? There he is.
Nope.
There's Steve.
Trying to get the mic unmuted, but the
Oh.
keyboard had switched itself off. I was going, why aren't you working?
Anything you wanted to add?
No, I chirped in occasionally, but the only other thing I would say is, have you seen that ruling in Canada for Google? Canada High Court has ruled that Google has to block this website worldwide, not just in Canada, worldwide. And they've set a terrible precedent that, in effect, that any country can just say to a company, you need to block this website availability worldwide. Has anyone else heard that story?
No.
It was to do with a copyright issue. One company said that they had infringed on copyrights of this other company. I haven't got the full detail, I haven't got the story in front of me, but basically the court sided with the company to say, yes, Google needs to block this access to this website, not only just in Canada where the offence was happening, but worldwide. And how on earth can Canada say that should happen worldwide? I mean, if that stands, that's going to set a terrible precedent.
How can they do? I mean, and that's supposed to hold?
They've got no jurisdiction over countries worldwide. I mean, luckily it's a company like Google, because they have appealed, but they've upheld the earlier ruling, or the lower ruling. So I'm assuming Google's going to continue to fight this. But imagine if it hadn't been a company like Google, with the money and the lawyers to fight back at it. That really is quite scary. But they've got no jurisdiction. I mean, jurisdiction in Canada, yes, but not worldwide. That's opening a ridiculous.
That's
precedent.
interesting.
Scary. I'll see if I can find some more information out about that for next week.
All right. Nick, anything?
Nope.
Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Infection.
Podcast. Yep.
Well, I decided I'm going back to school to get a degree in Norse literature, ancient Norse literature.
Perfect.
How's that?
The market is wide open.
I'm going to go to college and learn all about wood lice. There's bound to be a need for somebody that needs to know everything about wood lice.
All right.
Have a good week, everybody.
I know that Nick doesn't like to promote himself, but Infection Podcast is.
I just said it.
I know, but you need to tell him it's on Tuesday evening.
The Infection Podcast. It's Tuesday evenings, just like it was last week at 7:00.
Right. And you can go to infectionpodcast.com, as a matter of fact. I forgot. Right. And Nick has a new company. And Nick is he just graduated. And he's already...
Not graduated yet. I still got 2 weeks.
Well,
it's
yeah.
held over my head.
And if anybody knows anybody in the Albany area that needs computer work, they need to go to Tech Valley. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I don't. I mean, this is a show. I don't really
okay,
think it's
never mind.
It's not really. It's not. It's a very. It's a local thing, so there's really no point of promoting it.
I know. I'm saying if anybody knows anybody in the Albany area that needs family in the Albany area.
We spent some time on it next week. I think we're fine.
Okay. All right, everybody. Ooh, Spence, what's that?
We're talking about very highly charged topics here. So I showed lightning.
Yeah. That's another thing with Nick. He had a tornado, a bad storm the other night that went right over him.
Yeah, we saw that where we used to live in Wappingers Falls, New York, and saw that they had a tornado watch. It was like, and it does happen. We were there when they had that terrible Coldenham tragedy where a tornado tore a wall down at a school.
Yeah.
Killed students.
Yeah, contrary to most people's belief, they think upstate New York doesn't get any severe weather. I mean, Albany County, tornado, passed right through.
Okay. Well, then that's it for today. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Steve, Spence, Nick.
You're welcome.
Mike, Merle, Andrew. Everybody was here and still is here. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also tune in tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the Breaking Free show. And tonight, Tanya Love Show at 8 o'clock. Bye, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.